Good morning. Happy Tuesday, y'all. Happy Tuesday and welcome to Tax Talk Tuesday. Welcome to another week where we are talking about all things taxes, business, as well as finances. So go ahead and take the opportunity to share this live to some of your favorites groups. Okay. Go ahead and take the opportunity to share this live with your favorite Facebook friends, your business besties, whatever you want to call them. Go ahead and share this live. So on today, like I said, Tax Talk Tuesday, every week we come here and we focus on a particular tax topic, a business topic, or a finance topic. And on today, we're gonna focus on a finance topic. Okay, we're gonna talk about some money on today. So if you like the word money, then go ahead and leave me a comment. And if you don't like the word money, then hopefully after today's live, you will have a comfortable relationship with the word money and you can start saying it. Okay, so that's our goal. So if you're new to me, I'm Chastity Grady. At Grady Tax Plus, it is our number one goal that we keep the IRS out of your pocket so that you can live a better life. Why? Because you deserve it. And as a business owner, it's important. As a business owner, it's important that you live the life that you deserve and you desire to live because you went into business to make a living for yourself. You went into business to make money. And because you went into business to make money, it's only right that you have it, right? If you went into business to make money, y'all, let's wake up today. If you went into business to make money, then it's only right that you have it, that you get to have it. And I'm streaming into my social workers and therapists with tax questions. I'm streaming into that Facebook group, my community, and I'm speaking directly to you because as a social worker and as a therapist, you may not believe that you deserve to have money. You may not believe that you deserve to have money, but I'm here to tell you on today that whenever you're in business to make an impact on someone's lives, income must follow after that. I'm gonna say it again. When you're in business, okay, when you're in business and you're impacting lives as a business owner, you're impacting people's lives. It's only right that income, good morning, that income follows after it. So I want you to get it into your mind that I'm in business to make money, and as a business owner, I deserve to have it. I deserve to have it because why go into business to be cash poor? And by cash poor, meaning you don't have any funds or resources to do the things that you want to do, or to invest in your business, or to do what you want to do personally to pay yourself, right? Why go into business if you can't do that for yourself or start making changes in order to be in position to do so? So, on today's live, we are talking about the benefits of knowing your numbers and what happens when you don't. Okay, so we're talking about money today. We're talking about knowing our numbers and what happens when we don't know our numbers and the benefits of knowing our numbers. Okay, so I'm going to start today with the benefits. Okay, the benefits of knowing your numbers, and knowing your numbers, that is synonymous with the word bookkeeping, right? A lot of us kind of run away. I'll talk about people running away from the word budget, but a lot of us run away from the word bookkeeping because we think that bookkeeping is something that the big business owners have, is something that people who making six figures should have. And if you're not at six figures yet, then that means that you don't need bookkeeping. And that is actually false. That's actually false. And the IRS actually tells you on their website that basically if you're in business to make money, that you must keep records, that you must have a way of keeping track of your revenue, which is the money that you're bringing in, and your expenses, the money that you're spending out, that you must have a form of record keeping. You must have a way that you're keeping track of that because this is what they're going to tax you on. It didn't say that, okay, if you're making over six figures, you need to have a way of keeping track. No, if you are making revenue, period, whether that's 20,000, 50,000, I don't care what thousand it is, or even hundreds. If you are making money, if you are bringing in money, you're spending money because you got to spend money to make some money in business, then you have to keep records. You have to keep track of this stuff. Because otherwise, how do you know what to put on your tax return when it's time to file your taxes? How do you know? Which is one of the benefits. As well as if you are not keeping track of your records, it's also a con. The con is you won't be ready. You won't be ready to file your tax return. Many people who file extensions, many people who wait to the last minute to file their taxes, it's because they did not have their things together. When you have your things together, it doesn't take long to file your taxes. It don't take long. It's when you're disorganized. So when you have a way, and we're going to talk about some ways today. When you have a way of knowing your numbers and you're keeping track of the money that's coming in and the money that's going out or flowing in, flowing out, the benefit of that is that you are able to be ready. You are able to be ready to file your taxes when it's time to do so. And I know tax season is, some months away, but you don't have to have that upcoming stress. You can be prepared. I don't know. I have clients, maybe it's just my clients who are prepared. Maybe it's just my clients who are excited to get ready to file their taxes because everything is already in place. And we're just waiting to see what the outcome is, to see what the end gonna be. Okay. That's all we're doing. And that's how it should be. That whenever it's time for tax season, it should not be something that you slump in your chair about, that you get really stressed about. It should be something that uplifts you because you're like, okay, I get to officially close out my year. So if you have not yet filed your 2024 taxes yet, you have not truly officially closed out that year. Okay, you still have that lingering on. Now, there are some reasons why someone might delay filing their taxes if you are engaging in certain tax strategies, okay? That's different because there are some tax strategies that you can use that could allow you to go up until October or September, depending on your business structure, to file your tax return. There are some strategies that you could use to allow you to benefit in filing in the off season, which is from May up until October or even November if you file late. Okay, so that's an exception to the rule. But generally speaking, it's not something that you should be doing all the time as far as like filing late or getting behind. When you have this structure in place, when you have a system in place of keeping track of what's coming in and what's going out. Okay, so benefit number one, you know exactly you're ready for tax season. And then if you don't know your numbers, like I mentioned before, then you get behind. You're delayed. All right, so benefit number two. Benefit number two. The second benefit I want to talk about is being able to make strategic decisions when you know your numbers. So when I say when you know your numbers, I'm saying, yes, I said know what's coming in and know what's going out, but I need to know what that equals. So if I take what's coming in and I subtract what's going out, I am left with what's left over. And that's called my net profit, my net income. You've heard those words before. So if I have what's coming in, I subtract what's going out, I am left with my net profit. And with that net profit, that is where I am making my decisions with. That's where my strategic decision making comes from. I don't make strategic decisions with what has flown in because some of it is going to have to go out to business expenses. So I can't count on my gross, that's the gross. I can't count on my gross revenue, my gross money that is coming in. I can't depend on that to make decisions with because some of that is going to be expensed out. I'm going to spend some of that money on business expenses or business investments. So I can't rely on that. I need to know what I am left with, which is my net income. I need to know what I am left with because that is where I am going to start making my strategic decisions, my strategic choices with. Good morning, Melissa. So, what am I going to do with that? Once I have my net profit, what kind of strategic decisions, what kind of strategic choices am I going to make? Well, number one, we talked about taxes, right? So, number one, I'm going to allocate a portion. I'm going to take a portion of that, a percentage of that for taxes. I'm going to set it to the side. I'm going to set it to the side. Many business owners miss out on doing this step, which is why you owe a large tax bill at the end of the year, which is why you don't have anything for taxes if you owe the IRS. It's because you aren't putting that money aside. We have to allocate the tax part first. And there's a whole system that we do. There's a whole system, a money system that we need to follow in order to make sure that our business can support us, which is something that I teach in my 90-day bookkeeping boot camp. So make sure you definitely look into that resource because October is the last class that we're enrolling for the year. And if you want to know how is my business cash ready? How is my business able to support me from a full-time perspective, from a part-time perspective? How will my business be able to support me and I not get behind on taxes and I can still pay myself and I can still have savings and do what I want to do in life? Because a lot of times we're getting into full-time entrepreneurship or we want to get into full-time entrepreneurship and we have not made we have not made the decision to allocate something for taxes. So when you made the decision to maybe go into full-time entrepreneurship or as you're making the decision to want to go into full-time entrepreneurship, you have to have a line item for the taxes. And that's why we're doing our Fire Your Boss series, where we will be getting up to that. If you are following the Fire Your Boss series on Fridays, where we do lives about that, we are going to work our way up to that. But just as a sneak preview, a sneak peek, if you go into full-time entrepreneurship and you don't account for taxes being a part of your budget, then you can be in full-time entrepreneurship, but you won't be as successful because you will start having tax bills pile up on you year after year after year. And your cash, the money that you have to use to make decisions with will decrease significantly. And it will feel like you are going from deposit to deposit. You're waiting on your next deposit to start doing things. You're waiting on your next deposit to make decisions, to pay yourself. And that's not how you should flow within your business either. You shouldn't be going from deposit to deposit. Okay. So knowing your numbers, you're able to make a strategic decisions, allocating a portion, a percentage for taxes. And then you're able to allocate the portion that you're able to pay yourself with. If you're not an S Corp and you're not on a payroll in a C Corp, then you will be able to know how much can I pay myself. And then you'll be able to allocate portions for savings and investments. So with that net profit, we're allocating money for savings, for paying yourself, investments, and for taxes. Four things. There's at least four things we have to do with that net profit. And on top of that, I'm going to add a fifth one. If you do have business debt or a liability, such as credit cards or loans, then the fifth bucket is for that. And so we won't know how we can allocate or how much to allocate to these buckets if I don't know my numbers. If I don't know my net profit, how am I supposed to know what to put in the tax bucket, what to put in my owner's draw bucket, what to put in my savings bucket, what to put in my investment bucket, what to put in my debt if I owe debt, what to put in those buckets? How do I know? This is why you have to know your numbers. Right? It's not enough to open up your banking app to see what's in the bank account. That those numbers don't correlate with the net profit. That number is only showing the cash, the money that you have access to right now. But it doesn't show you that if I spend the money that I have access to right now, does that put me in the red from a net profit or a net loss standpoint? So if you have a net loss, meaning after you subtract your expenses from your income, if the number is negative, so you make 5,000, you spend 6,000, you're negative 1,000, That means you're in the red. You spent too much money. The business wasn't profitable for that month, which means that in order to have paid yourself, in order to have you wouldn't have had money to put back for taxes and wouldn't have needed to for that particular month, but you wouldn't have had money to pay yourself unless you waited for another deposit to come in. Right? Unless you waited for another deposit to come in order to pay yourself. But if you look at that net profit, technically the business could not have supported you for that month. You see how that works? You're able to make strategic decisions. I'm going to give you another one. So the other one I want to give you, I'm going to go to the con side. So what happens when you don't know your numbers is you're missing out on tax deductions. You're missing out on what you're able to deduct from your taxes to save money, right? When you're not keeping track of your numbers, when you don't know every business expense that goes into a tax deduction or turns into a tax deduction, when you don't know all of your business expenses, when you're just spending the money in the business and you're relying on your bank statement to do the work for you, and your bank statement doesn't give you the net profit, it only gives you the cash flow assessment, whatever came in, regardless to whether you paid it, you paid money into the business or the business got paid, whether or not that was a business expense that came out or you just took money out of the business. The bank doesn't recognize which one is which. It doesn't recognize that. So that's why accounting comes into play. And last week I told y'all that accounting is the language of business. Remember that? I told y'all that last week. So as a business owner, regardless to where you are in business, regardless to what you do in business, whether you're a social worker, a therapist, a consultant, whatever you are in business, you have to know accounting because that's the language of business. So how are you able to operate a business without knowing the language? And we think that, oh, I didn't go to school for that. I didn't go to school for the numbers, so that I'm exempt. You're not exempt. The IRS even says you're not exempt because when it comes to the money that you make, the money that you spend in business, they're going to tax you on what's left over. And if you don't know what's supposed to go in those sections, then how are you going to be compliant with the IRS? How are you going to be able to sleep good at night, knowing that the IRS is not going to bother you? Or if they were to bother you, you are already prepared because you had a system in place. So when it comes to keeping track of things, it's not enough to rely on the bank statements. And the IRS, if they were to audit you, they don't even want your bank statements. They want the receipts. And so if you don't have a centralized system in place, I know that word system comes up a lot in business, and that's another word we like to run away from, having systems. We also have to have systems in place. Financial systems are important. It helps us be able to make those strategic decisions, strategic choices much quicker and easier if it's done right. If it's done right. So when we're looking at missed tax deductions, if we don't have a good record keeping system in place to know what our tax deductions are, to know what buckets our business expenses belong to, and by buckets, I mean the categories. Because when you're doing your bookkeeping, you have to assign your dollars. You have to assign your money. I spent $12.99 on Canva. What bucket does that belong to? What am I using Canva for? I'm using it for marketing. I'm using it for my marketing materials. That goes in the advertising bucket. Everything that you spend in your business that is tax deductible, it needs to go in a bucket. It needs to go in the category that it belongs to. Does your current way of keeping track of your business money, does it allow you to put the things in the buckets, to put the things in the hats? in the categories. Because if it doesn't, then you are one step behind. You're one step behind, and I want you to get one step closer. I need you to get one step forward. Okay. In business, I know some of us who had just started, or you feel like you're not at the revenue level that you want to be, and you might think, or you may think that, again, as I mentioned before, I will start focus on that when I get to this XYZ level, when I start making this amount, when I finally quit my job, then that's when I'm supposed to start figuring this stuff out. But in order for you to be financially successful now, in order for you to have the ultimate financial success that you deserve and desire to have now, these are things that you need to keep track of now. Because then when you get to that level, you're sustaining being at that level versus trying to hurry up and get ready, and you actually start spending more money than you needed to because you were not prepared for that level. So this is one of the benefits of knowing your numbers. You're able to prepare for the next level that you're going to. You're able to prepare for the next level that you're going to. You're able to see, this is where I'm going. This is where I'm going. Or if I'm a little behind on where I'm going, this is what I need to do to get caught up. This is what I need to do to get caught up so I'm not behind, so I am able to reach the goals that I have set out to reach. A lot of us have our money goals. We create money goals for ourselves, for our business. And how do we know that we're on target, on track to reach those money goals? How do we know how much more money do I need to make next month or next quarter in order to reach my financial goals, or in order to get one step closer to my financial goals? That's where the systems are coming in. That's where the systems that you use to manage your money come in. And there's a few ways that you can do that. Many of you start out using a spreadsheet, but your spreadsheet is not allowing you to put things into the buckets. Remember the buckets that I keep mentioning. The advertising bucket, the office expense bucket, the travel bucket, the contract labor bucket. All of these different buckets, right? My expenses needs to go in those buckets, and I need to be able to see that clearly. I need to be able to see how much did I spend in advertising for this month, or for the quarter, or for the year thus far. I need to know that, because if I've spent more than what I wanted to, then I need to scale it back. I need to cancel a couple of subscriptions. I need to, stop swiping the card so much for certain types of programs that work on marketing, or stop spending so much money in ads, or whatever it is, directories, whatever it is. But you wouldn't know that if you can't see how much you spent in that bucket. And that goes for each and every bucket. When you look at the buckets, you're like, wow, I spent 20% of my income on that. That's not what I intended to do. So let me make some changes to that. That's still in alignment with some of the strategic choices that you're able to make with having and knowing your numbers. And so going back to how do you do this? One of the ways, as I mentioned, is you can use a spreadsheet, but the one that I like to use, or the one that I like to give out to my clients, because I personally use a software, it's a business finance tracker, is your business finance tracker. And that one actually allows you to assign things to the buckets. Okay. It was created and designed for you to be able to see your net profit. Remember, we talked about that word earlier. So whatever I spent in my business, I'm able to see all the buckets that it belongs to. Whatever I made in my business, I'm able to clearly see that. And whatever I made minus what I spent, that is my net profit. And that's when I can start making decisions on what to do with that money. So it actually allows you to see the different buckets, to put and assign your money to those different buckets. And you can see on a monthly basis and on a yearly basis where you are. You're able to see, oh, okay, I'm actually on track to hitting my 6-figure goal. Or you know what, I'm not actually on track, and I see that I spent a little bit too much money on office expenses. I spent a little bit too much money on education and training. You're able to see those things. And because of that, you're able to see that you can make real-time decisions, and you don't have to wait until next year comes to start making the decisions you want to make. You can start making it right now because you have the data, you have the information right now. So if you're on Facebook, I'm going to leave the link to your business finance tracker for you to be able to do this. And I do have a video tutorial attached to it. And that's only $37. And that's able to get the job done. But I also have the people who they want to have things streamlined. You want to have things streamlined. You want to have a system in place because you want to go on, you want to go on to six figures and beyond. And you don't even have to be on track or have the mindset to want to go to six figures and beyond. But because I told you that accounting is the language of business, and if you need to know what accounting is and understand it for yourself and understand how to make those strategic decisions on how much to allocate for the taxes, how much to allocate for your pay, for your savings, for your investments, for your debt, how much to allocate for those buckets, and what to do with the reports when you're looking at it, right? So when you have your income minus your expenses, your net profit, that is on a report. And you're able to see on the report and analyze the report. Now, all of this might sound technical, but these are the basic skills as a business owner that you need to have. These are the basics. These are the basics that you need to have in order to run a real successful, profitable business. And so luckily for you, in the 90-day bookkeeping bootcamp, I give you those tools and resources that you need. If you're in a spreadsheet, we go from spreadsheet to the software. If you're in a software but don't know how to use it, or you don't understand the language of business, what to do with this information that's in here now that I've put it in the buckets, all of that is in the training. You get to walk away with having the confidence to know how to analyze your money, what to do with the money, to be prepared for tax season when it comes, to know exactly what you're going to write off on your tax return in your business, to set yourself up for the ultimate financial success. And I'm so glad that I offer this to not only new business owners, but to business owners who have been in the game for a little bit, but have not yet put this system in place. And maybe you've been stuck for years and years and years, and you've been trying to figure out, how do I get over this hump? How do I go from point A to point B? How do I get there? And I'm telling you, this is the missing link. This is the missing link that you've been needing all this time in order to have the financial success that you deserve and desire. Being able to analyze and know what to do with my numbers, because maybe you have the numbers, but you don't know what you're supposed to do with them. So in the 90-day bookkeeping bootcamp, we meet twice a month. We meet twice a month. You schedule these. You schedule the times you want to meet based on your availability. So there's no time conflict. You're not married to showing up at a certain time and date and missing out on the class if you wasn't there. You actually get to schedule it when you're available. And you get hands-on, one-on-one teaching. And you don't get to be taught with dummy numbers. We're using your real numbers, your raw data, because it's your business. So why go through the training if you don't know what you're supposed to do with your own numbers? So I'm teaching you what to do with your own numbers. And you get to see your real numbers in real time and make strategic decisions, strategic choices for yourself. So we are enrolling for we're enrolling for October's class, which will be the last 90-day bookkeeping bootcamp class that we would do for the year. So if you want to get in on this, if you want to end the year knowing that you're on track to have financial success, to know how much you need to have saved for taxes, because maybe you have neglected taxes all year and you've been saying, oh, I'll take care of that next month, and next month. And the next month has come to now. We're about to be in September. And you still haven't accounted for taxes for the previous 8 months. Let's see where you are. Let me tell you something. When you're in business, you can't run away from the numbers. The numbers is what helps you be successful. The numbers is what helps you know that you're not going bankrupt, that you're in business for the long run. Knowing your numbers helps you to know this. And a lot of times we like to treat our business like it's a job. Oh, I don't have to worry about that department because I don't get paid to work in that department. So why do I need to worry about what's going on in the numbers department? And as the owner, you have to wear the CEO hat. When you have the CEO hat, you oversee everything. When you're just being the operator, you're only looking at the one thing that you do. So for example, if you're a social worker or a therapist, you're only looking at doing that thing, doing the therapeutic work or the consulting work. But when you're the CEO, you have to start putting the CEO hat on, and you have to start looking at, okay, let's look at all of our departments. How's the customer service going? What can we improve on that side? How is the marketing going? What can we do on this side to gain more leads? What are we doing with the numbers? What does our numbers look like? What story is it telling us? Is it telling us that if we don't slow down on the spending, we won't have any more cash? We might have to start getting loans or using credit cards. You have to wear that hat. There's many hats. And you might think, well, I could just hire somebody for that. And you can. We do manage a lot of our clients' money on a monthly basis. But as a business owner, to be successful and knowing what to do with those numbers, you have to go through the 90-day bookkeeping bootcamp. All business owners must go through this program, regardless to who is going to manage the money, whether you're going to manage the money after the program or somebody else is going to do it like myself. And all business owners need the information that's in this program so that you can be able to be the successful business that you deserve to be. So again, we are enrolling for October. If you want to get on a call with me to talk about this program more in detail, I'll leave the link in the comments on Facebook for you. After this live, I'll leave the link for you. If you're watching a replay, hashtag replay. Hashtag replay. I hope you are able to see the importance, the benefits of knowing your numbers. That if you want to be successful in business, I have to know my numbers. I have to. I have to know, what am I supposed to do with this information? I see that other people are successful in business. How are they successful in business? They knew their numbers. They knew what to do with the net profit. They knew how to allocate or how much to allocate to the 5 buckets that we talked about. They knew. And you can know too. And you can know too. So we're here every Tuesday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, talking about taxes, talking about business, talking about finance. Every week, we'll be back here next Tuesday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. Share this live with someone who needs to know their numbers. Let your business friends, let your business besties, let your business groups learn how can they be one step closer to being financially successful if they just know their numbers and understand what to do with them. Okay, share this live with them and share this to their groups. So again, if you're watching a replay, hashtag replay. We will be back here next Tuesday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, and I hope you have a great day. If you are following our Fire Your Boss series, we'll be back live on Friday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. So join me on my Facebook page on Friday.